need a light, so I can smoke away this pain. I need a light, so I can smoke away this pain.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Elevated Culture, brought to you by The Clinic. I am your host, Matthew Stafford, and with me, as always, is my good friend and colleague, Mr. Ryan Cook. How you doing?
Thanks a lot, Matthew, for having me once again.
Once again. I don't know. We keep ending up here, like, in the studio, like, every 2 weeks somehow doing this, so.
You know, and I really have to say, I love the shit out of doing podcasts.
Isn't it great? It's fun.
It's a lot of fun. And it's a great way for everybody out there to really hear from us. I mean, it's been fun to hear from everyone, out in the ethers there and reaching out to us and letting us know questions and, just kind of asking us things about the clinic. We love that. Please keep doing it.
Yeah, please keep doing that. Please keep reaching out to us, and please keep listening and telling your friends. We really appreciate that because we know that there have been a lot more people listening, and we have a lot more interaction, not only with you, the listeners, but also with a lot of these other companies. And like, we have some great things that we're lining up for interviews, in the next couple of months. And we did actually kind of a fun thing here. So I went around, I kind of called it a cart cast when we were doing this. We just, in August, at the beginning of August, had the 9th annual Clinic Charity Classic, and
it's a tough one to say.
And especially when you're saying it all day long, doing a cart cast. But I had the pleasure of going around the entire Arrowhead golf course, and literally stopping at every single one of the holes, meeting every single one of the sponsors, talking to everyone, and getting interviews with all of these sponsors as well. And you and I have sat down and listened to all of these, and it is a cornucopia of amazing people, interviews, companies. I feel like if we were going to do what we were planning on doing, which was I was going to kind of splice it all together and stuff like that. What I didn't play you was maybe some of the embarrassing solo stuff of me, like at the beginning when all the golfers first went out and I'm sitting there talking and, those sorts of things. But I was going to splice it all together and like put some music in between and kind of take people around. But I think it would end up being like longer than a Joe Rogan podcast if I ended up doing that.
We were on the golf course, I think, golfing about a 6.5 hour round. So I've got to assume that you have some incredible content.
Yeah, I have some incredible and some not so incredible, and the not so incredible is basically me.
The not so incredible is what I'm talking about because I've heard all of the great interviews.
Yeah. So. Yeah, so this was...
In fact, actually, I have to stop you because you have one really great... You're
going to make me play it.
Yeah, so totally. So cue that up. Because Peter Dante, hosted the event. Peter, who is in a bunch of different movies, a lot of culture movies. He is in Grandma's Boy and a lot of Adam Sandler movies. So if you don't know Peter Dante, definitely check him out. But he was super fun out on the course, had a great time taking photos with everyone. But at one point we had stopped and got in the weed streamer.
Yep.
And we were going to do an interview with Peter, which you should definitely, we'll get that out and over time here to everyone. But play Matthew's. This is Matthew opening up the intro to his interview with his first big movie star here.
We just finished the front 9 of the 9th annual Chinook.
That's going to work out well for you when you say Chinook. Clinic. Yeah. Oh, that cut, rewind.
Right.
Thank God he has a movie actor to say, take 2.
Take 2. Are you a one take kind of guy?
I'm a one take kind of guy. Overall, you guys.
Well, he called you on it, man.
He did, and I had to stop anyway, and I almost did at the beginning of this podcast. But all day long, when I was talking to people and I was saying the Clinic Charity Classic, like 9th annual Clinic Charity Classic, it rolls off the tongue, but when you keep saying it, you kind of, your brain starts second guessing. It's like a Sally sells seashells by the seashore type thing, almost.
I'm glad you're a good enough sport to play that.
Who knows? Maybe we'll play some of the other bloopers at a later date. It was a great time, and we've talked about on the podcast about how we were going to kind of put this together. But as I just said, a few minutes ago, we've kind of decided, on a different format to kind of keep everyone engaged, not kind of send you on like a Lord of the Rings type, listening session, and try and keep things upbeat and fun, but still get all of that out. But we've been doing this for 9 years. We also engage, we've talked about it on the podcast before, we do the MS walk, and those types of things. And I know, Ryan, you can speak to it very well because, you work very closely and directly, with a lot of these people. And, can you just kind of talk about the clinic and what we've been able to do and the story behind us getting involved, with MS research?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think when we started the clinic back in 2009, really we started it with a group of our friends. Quite a few of us had all gone to the University of Colorado Boulder together, and so we've known each other for quite some time. And Jay, who I think most individuals know, our head breeder over with the clinic. He's now ultimately producing product for the bank, but all in the family. So. Which
I will say, if you are a new listener or maybe just started a couple of episodes ago, go back and maybe listen to the archives because it was episode maybe 2, I believe, that we did have Jay on talking about the bank, and he has so much knowledge.
It's almost too much at times. I mean, the guy he is so knowledgeable in cannabis, and I mean, ultimately, that is the perfect situation for a breeder, right? I mean, you want someone that's insanely dedicated and passionate about cannabis, but in the same sense, I mean, Jay's just thirst for knowledge in general is pretty amazing. So, but with Jay and back at CU, we had known Jay that growing up, he had his father had unfortunately passed away from a really tough MS condition called progressive MS, and so and it really hit someone very fast. I mean, he went from normal walking, talking, moving through life kind of guy, and over about a 12-month time period, completely immobilized in a wheelchair. Someone definitely has to feed you and change you, and it's a tough thing for someone to obviously experience. I mean, especially an individual who would be younger, and Jay definitely went through that. And one thing that he came out of it with is one, a really good attitude, and very compassionate. I've seen him sit with some of our patients before, and for hours to walk them through different issues that they're experiencing, and just anecdotal information that he can provide about the way he's experienced cannabis. And so pretty amazing and powerful stuff that he has at his head. And so Jay, while we were in college, ended up, meeting a girl, and, as good friends would do, we of course would give him a hard time about how the date went, and he ended up telling us a story about, the fact that he had gone out, and that he had shared, while on the date, of course, sharing a little information about yourself. He had shared that, his father had passed away from this, really, really difficult disease, and how difficult that was on him as a child. And ultimately, she decided to go ahead and let him know right then that just a few months prior, she had been diagnosed with MS as well. And so, it's amazing the way that this, just the world works, and I think, puts us around the right people at the right times. And I know he had kind of shared with us that, that was a tough thing for him. I mean, he of course had a great time on the date, and really enjoyed being with her, but kind of thought about it afterwards and said, I wonder really what my mother would have felt like if she, for everything that she went through and how difficult it was to deal with, her husband in that situation, would she do it again? I mean, is that something that she would, put herself in that scenario? The story, of course, goes that she said yes. I mean that to be there for somebody and help them through something like that, she would never have walked away, and that she encouraged Jay to follow his heart, and ultimately he did decide to go ahead and continue dating her, and in fact they are married. I'm so excited to say that they've just had their second child. All while we've been here at the clinic. She's doing really, really well. And that's kind of the thing. I mean, he had been her caregiver. She was one of the first individuals on the caregiver list. When the program started back in 2000, and so he had been her caregiver all through college, and his knowledge and understanding of the cultivation of cannabis has grown exponentially over that time period, and so that's why he's an amazing breeder, and has put some incredible strains out on the market. But it's also why we as a group of friends in college started supporting the Walk MS that had happened in Boulder. And back then, of course, I mean, and I think Jay even said, I think the first year that they did it as a group, I mean, maybe raised a few $100s to $1,000 or something. And, that was a success, right? I mean, it was amazing that, raising this money for this great organization and supporting something that they had, been dealing with for so long. But I think, as a good tight group of friends that we are, I mean, really sort of, all involved ourselves and are doing what we can to really stop this disease and find some some additional doctors that want to do more in-depth research and get to the bottom. I mean, it's a tough diagnosis. Everyone experiences MS differently, and I think that's one of the challenges about the diagnosis in general is that years ago, you would have quickly been put into a wheelchair. You would, your life would have changed drastically. And I think now with the research that has been capable of being done through, organizations like the National MS Society, like Rocky Mountain MS Center, it's unbelievable to see, the changes that, that we've all been a part of, that we've helped create. And so, it really pushed us into the golf tournament, and that's why now on the 9th year of the tournament, the 9th year participating as a company in Walk MS, I am so proud to say that we have raised in the neighborhood of $750,000, and that's on the backs of our employees, that's on the backs of all of the sponsors and individuals in this industry who just give a shit.
It's very true. I mean, and that story is so touching, and kudos again to Jay, and especially with what he's been able to do when you're talking about him, putting that passion into his work and into cannabis, and really continuing with it. I mean, you see it every day, but then also being able to see everyone on, the bank team, the lab team, the clinic team, everyone kind of rallying behind, and then doing these walks, helping, get together and get this charity classic together every single year, which is by no means a small task. It's a very, very large task, actually. And a lot of individuals give up their time, a lot of time throughout the year in order to make that happen. Not just the time during the day that it happens, it's a big deal. And I think that, it then goes on to talk, you're talking about all of these different companies and individuals outside of the clinic, the lab, the bank, bank and everything who maybe were with the team and have moved somewhere else in the industry or something, but everyone keeps coming back to it and supporting this. And I think it's a huge deal, because then you start hearing stories and, like you said, you know, kind of the universe kind of attracts, like and like. Then you start finding out everyone else has these other stories, or someone who's a family member who's been affected by this, or maybe themselves, and you start hearing all of these stories, and it really helps push things and making it more powerful. It really is a good community to be involved in, a good group of people, and great research is being done, and like you said, on the backs of all of these people who are willing to put their time and their energy forth to make something like this happen.
Absolutely, and I think it's exciting. Tonight we also have the opportunity. We're going to bring on Theo Frankovich from the National MS Society, who is the senior director of Walk MS. And so it's fun to be able to have individuals from these industry or these organizations on, and hear a little bit about kind of where our funds go. And I mean that's really what I want to ask. And
yeah. So I think I've got her queued up and patched in here. So
cool. Well,
let's talk to Theo.
Well, hey, before you even do that, I think I would be remiss not to say a few thank yous to some really important individuals that help make this tournament to go every year. So first and foremost, main sponsor, Gofire. Definitely go check them out. I know we'll hear an interview from them in a little bit. Inclusive Cannabis, incredible company based out in California. Awesome that they have some, relationship with us here in Colorado, and it was really cool to have them be a part of it over at Dab Cove, and PAX as well, which they never need an introduction. It's such an incredible product. Everyone knows the PAX Era products, and as well as the 1, 2, and 3. So it was super cool to have all of those guys a part of this, and I hope they'll all come back and participate next year, along with our incredible host, Mr. Peter Dante. Could not say thanks to him for coming out and being a part of it. It was super fun to have him out here this year, and I hope that when we talk about people coming back, I sure hope they'll come back next year.
It was so funny because the cart that Zach Engel and I were in, he was tasked with, he was driving me around all day and getting me to all of these places, which he realized was quite the job. Podcasting is actually quite the job when you're doing it all day long. But for the first front 9, actually, we were right behind you and Peter Dante, and so when you and Dante, we would pull up to a hole to go talk to the sponsors right after you guys left, and just the energy and positivity that all the people had, at those booths and at those holes after you guys left. I mean, we were riding the Cook and Dante high, and able to get some great interviews from that. But everyone was having a great time. He was having a great time.
It was a blast, and then obviously, Arrowhead Golf Course. This is the third year we've been with them, and we really hope that it's going to be many, many years in the future. They are an incredible group to work with, the most breathtaking golf course in Colorado. I really encourage individuals to go out there and give it a shot.
It's Red Rocks with golfing.
It's absolutely epic. I mean, It really is. And then, before you give her a call, I just wanted to say, one, you commented about the volunteer group that gets together and works on this throughout the year, and the countless hours that they dedicate to this. We've got a committee that gets together, and in fact, actually, we generally start January 1. Actually, what we are doing, in fact, for CCC 10, so, or I should say CCC X. I really encourage everybody to pay attention to what's going to happen with that one. It's going to be a huge event, absolutely unbelievable for the 10th anniversary, so ultimately keep an eye out for sure. But the group that gets together, is we're actually starting next month to start the planning. So that's why I know this is going to be bigger and badder, and I also that's almost a year-long commitment. for these committee members who get on this, and it's not just meetings that they're showing up for. They are doing hours and hours and hours of outside work, all on a volunteer basis to be able to make this tournament go. And so seriously, hats off to them. And I think probably the biggest hat off needs to go to I guess I can say Miss Caitlin Graft.
Can say it.
But that's only for about another 48 hours before she completes her nuptials. So congratulations, Caitlin, on your wedding. And obviously thank you for what you did for this this event this year. It was absolutely amazing. And so I just wanted to make sure that anyone who didn't know the person behind the curtain, that's her. She does an amazing job.
Yeah, she did an absolute amazing job, and I think anyone who was there volunteering, anyone who was there as a golfer, anyone who was there as a sponsor, anyone who was just there to party, had an amazing time, and she had so much to do with it, and the team that she was working with. So again, thank you so much, Caitlin. Like, we really appreciate it, and congratulations on pulling off an amazing event, and congratulations on your wedding.
Exactly. Well, let's call Theo.
Yeah, let's call Theo up right now.
Hello, this is Theo.
Hi, Theo. This is Ryan Cook and Matthew Stafford with the Elevated Culture Podcast. How are you doing?
How are we doing tonight?
Super good. How are things for you?
Awesome.
Great.
We're doing great. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, I think most of our listeners are well aware of the relationship that we have had with the National MS Society over the years, and I think tonight was just a fun time for us to kind of talk about this incredible golf tournament that happened, here in August, and just wanted to talk a little bit with you guys and all of the incredible things, and make sure that all those out in elevated culture land get an opportunity to hear a little bit about the National MS Society. So today, Theo Frankovich is here with us. She's the senior manager of Walk MS. And Theo, we wanted to just see if maybe you can talk to us a little bit about what you do with the MS Society, and ultimately a little bit about the MS Society in general.
Definitely. I want to thank you for having us on today, and just sharing the awesome partnership that we've had over the last, 9 years, is it? We were all out at the charity golf tournament this August, and it's a great time to meet folks and just share more about what we do. I would say that we are a three-legged organization in that all of this important funding goes to not only research, but advocacy, as well as programs and services. So we cover the Colorado and Wyoming market locally, but we are the largest private funder of research worldwide, which I think is pretty awesome. For every $1 donated, we leverage $3 from community resources. So I think that impact is definitely visible, especially with what all you guys have done. Started back in 2010 at $10,000, and then grew to over $100,000 event. So yeah.
Well, that's great, and we have obviously, really appreciated working with you guys. I mean, your entire staff over this almost decade now have just been absolutely amazing. Our entire company has had the opportunity not just to participate in the Clinic Charity Classic Golf Tournament, but we also participate in the MS Society's Walk MS, which is a really fun event that happens at City Park every year, and we've been super excited to be a part of it. So, can you tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing there, and how many people are attending?
Right. So Walk MS Denver is at City Park every year in May, and while the clinic has about 50 walkers, we actually have about 8,000 walkers out there. over 90% of people out there are directly connected to multiple sclerosis, but we've been doing it since 1988, and we are out there to not only involve the community. I would say it's one of our largest programs, but also to raise those critical funds. So
that's great. That is always such a fun day too. I think we've had a blast having, families and friends out there. It's just a fun time to just kind of hang out with everyone. It's a nice walk around City Park. We've always had beautiful weather, so
yeah, I love it, especially too, everyone having their tents and their booths, and like the community and everyone walking around at the beginning and after the walk and talking to each other and kind of exchanging stories and why they're there. It's just it's such a positive attitude. I mean, 8,000 plus, that's a lot of people.
Right. I always tell people the one reason my family participates in walk over any other event is because my 10-year-old sister can do it, and my 8-year-old grandfather can do it, right?
It's exactly right. And there are, as well as tons of individuals that, come do the walk in wheelchairs. So it's such an event where it's so amazing to have everyone come out, have a great time together. We love it. We absolutely love doing the walk every year.
It's really a rallying point, right? You think of all of those team tents out there, and everyone is rallying around someone they know, or, the 15,000 people in Colorado, right, that are living with this disease. So
yeah, it's great, but that's why that kind of gets us started for the year, and as a company, everyone gets to raise that money individually, and then we really roll that into the into the golf tournament, which happens there in August. So this year, and I know that this year we did something a little bit different, but we also worked with another MS group that is here in Colorado, a local group, and but we were excited to say that raising north of $200,000 allowed us to be able to provide a really great gift to both organizations, and I was just curious with maybe you could tell a little bit of where that money goes and ultimately what it does to support individuals in the community.
Right. And I just wanted to say how much we appreciate it, and we know that for both organizations it's going to the same thing, right? Our vision is to end MS. So I would say that we do things like programs here locally, but we service 5 communities, I would say, in Colorado. But because the clinic has been involved for so long, you actually helped fund research for the latest disease-modifying therapy that came out last year. Before that, we didn't have a disease-modifying therapy for progressive MS, so it was such a huge breakthrough for us, and that is because of the MS Society that it got funded. So I just want to say that it takes all of us, right? And whether we're helping someone locally with home modifications or financial assistance, or just being able to call us for access to health care, or helping the newly diagnosed, I think all of that adds up. So
it's amazing, and I gotta say, I think I don't know if Matthew felt the same way, getting a little bit of chills there when she's talking about something that, I mean, all of that hard work that all of these people have put in over the years, ultimately does end at a drug modifying therapy, or which is amazing.
Yeah, really being able to see that actually benefiting, and seeing over the years, especially with the clinic being able to be involved with you all, just being able to see the leaps and bounds, that the research has taken, and the drugs and the different types of therapies that have come. I mean, you guys are doing great work, and we've been so proud to be a part of it.
The progress has just been tremendous, right? Someone that was diagnosed 20 years ago had no disease-modifying therapies to help them out, right? So The fact that we have 16 today, I think, is huge. It not only helps modify the course of the disease, but it treats the relapses, and it helps them manage their symptoms, right? Every person that lives with MS has such different experience of it. And I think it's so great to be a part of that bigger whole, right?
Well, without a doubt. So, a big thank you to, you and everything that you guys are doing over there. All the other volunteers and individuals that work at the MS Society. We sincerely appreciate the relationship, and we sincerely appreciate everything that you guys are doing to help those fighting this disease. So, thank you very much. Please know
that the gratitude is very much appreciated. We're very much on our end as well. So it's going to take all of us.
That's exactly right. It takes a village.
Yep. Yeah.
So, well, thank you again. Theo Frankovich with the National MS Society. We really appreciate all the work that you're doing with Walk MS. So, thank you again, and we'll see you guys next year for sure.
Very good. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So that was cool, man. That's Theo's an amazing person. She's done a great job with that organization, and it's been great to work with her. Now on Charity Classic.
Yeah, I mean, and talk about putting on events and things like that too. Walk MS. I mean, looking at Denver, like she was saying, 8,000 plus people. I mean, that is no small task.
It's an amazing event, and I would really suggest to anybody whether it's something you want to participate with us, or maybe it's something you want to start with your own family. I mean, you have somebody that a family member or a friend that has MS, and it's really awesome to go out there and really support them as a group of individuals. And so you can start your own team, or we would love to have you sign up and participate with the clinic team. So take a look at our website under Clinic Cares. You can sign up for the MS Walk there, and also learn a lot of information about the Charity Classic for future years.
Yeah, I would, and also if you're tuned into social media and everything like that as the event is coming up and as the team is being formed every year, Facebook, Instagram, we will be linking to Clinic Cares and giving you information if you want to join the team, or just like Ryan said, kind of do it yourself or do it with your family members or something like that. But it is for an amazing cause, and the things that they're funding, the research and what they've been able to do in just, the years that we've been doing this has been amazing. And I think it's going to get better and better. And we will find a cure.
Absolutely. So let's get it on with some of these interviews. I want to hear. I know JJ O'Brien, who is like the man over at PAX, the man with the plan. I'd love to hear that one. Do you have his interview?
Yeah, I got that queued up. I was lucky enough to catch him right at the top of what hole is that? It's like
14 or 13.
13.
It's absolutely stunning hole.
It's like my favorite hole on the course. It's absolutely beautiful. But
they actually had like an amazing setup too. How did you even get that setup out to the to that hole?
I have no idea.
It was really cool. So kind of like a PAX lounge, you could go up there and hang out in this absolutely stunning hole. So, but let's hear your interview with JJ.
This is JJ and I on the couch in the lounge. Here you go. So we've made it to hole 13, which is actually the best hole on the entire course here, and I'm lucky enough to sit here with JJ from PAX, and we are overlooking a beautiful hole right here.
Absolutely gorgeous.
A beautiful hole right here.
Absolutely gorgeous.
And how's your day going?
My day's going amazing. It's a bit hot, but as a San Franciscan, it's lovely to be here and sweat a bit in the summer.
Yeah, it's a little less humid here, too.
Yeah, but it's gorgeous. This course is absolutely incredible. I love coming out here. It's support of such an amazing cause. So
it's a great cause, and obviously PAX, a great company. It's something that I don't know if it needs me to tout it up. I think everyone's kind of heard about PAX.
Thank you. We've been fortunate to be able to service the needs of the cannabis consumer for over 6 years when we launched our initial PAX 1. And we always found that there was alternatives to combustion. especially. And again, we've made inroads into the medical market, and we've been able to expand our presence nationwide, servicing so many good needs. And it's great to be able to come out and support causes like MS, which is a great use case for medical cannabis, where medical cannabis has had huge inroads in helping people cope in a better way than necessarily taking a pill in a more controllable way. So
yeah, and starting medical and then having those inroads, it's allowed so many other places, Colorado obviously, California,
Yep.
and now to recreational adult use, where without having to go to a doctor, people are also able to utilize and self-medicate that, and also just to kind of have a good time. And so you guys had the PAX 1, you had the PAX 2, now you have the PAX 3,
Yep.
right? And then you have the PAX Era, which obviously those pods are everywhere, the lab pods, but plenty of others. But I would check out the labs line too.
Yeah, the lab line's fantastic.
Yeah.
Again, that was kind of where we came into this market now. It'll be 2 years ago in September was when we first launched the Era, and it's been a wild ride since. The market's changed, consumer preferences have changed, even oils have changed. But I definitely check out. My Tangie is my favorite. The Pre-98 Bubba Kush is also quite
It's a
good.
great one, especially with that CBD.
Yeah, no, it's a really good CBD. So.
Yeah. Well, talking about that, and you guys are a technology company, and you create all of these kind of combustible vaporization type of products. Where do you see kind of the industry, or at least like the technology part where you're focused on going?
Yeah, I think so. We just recently came out with a couple months ago our session control, which is it gives you the ability to control your session in a rather pretty controlled fashion, a repeatable fashion, and we have it from micro all the way to large, and that really is trying to go after those use cases where you're trying to whether it be self-medication or medicating for symptoms of a more terminal illness, that you can start feeling more comfortable, that you're not always having to overconsume or getting outside your comfort zone. And I think that's really important for a lot of consumers. And so it's been great to leverage technology to be able to bring that to market.
It's great. You guys are doing great work. I know I have a PAX pen on me right now.
PAX Era,
so I think everyone on this golf course does, to be honest.
Yeah, I have about 2 or 3. And
So, well, how's your experience been out here today?
Oh, I can't complain at all. We have a great foursome, and to be out here with some of my team to see so many of our partners and so many people who have done great work in this market. It's I played last year, and
I mean the clinic and PAX have had a great relationship for a long time. So.
Yeah, I'm not going to share a score because it's quite embarrassing, but. Well, hey, we're having a good time.
Well, hey, I appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your day from playing to talk to us.
Thanks, and thank you guys for putting this on. It's like congratulations.
Well, thank you for being a part of it.
Really, it's quite incredible what you guys have done, and we're just happy to play a small role in all of that.
Well, everyone, remember to elevate your culture, and that means checking out PAX.
Yeah, and check out the lab in the clinic.
Yeah, thanks a lot, JJ.
Thanks, guys.
Those guys are awesome, man. I mean, it's been so cool to have them at the tournament the last couple of years, and on top of it, everyone went home with a custom engraved Era device, which is super cool. It's got the logo on it. I think everyone probably has that in their pocket every day.
I know I do. So no, but it was great to be able to get him for a few minutes to sit down amongst all the madness, and he was golfing too.
And he's a pretty busy guy.
Yeah. Pretty busy guy, so was able to steal him away for a couple of minutes. So JJ, thanks for sitting down and doing that interview. We also have a couple of other ones we want to play here tonight, and I know this next one is something that we've been really excited about. We've talked a lot about CBD, the CBD industry, but also CBD being integrated in with cannabis products. Kind of supplementing and how it helps people. And we had an amazing sponsor, Tribe CBD, and I was actually able to meet up with Alec, the owner of Tribe, and he has an amazing story on this interview of kind of like how and why he started Tribe and the vision behind it, and I thought it was really interesting to hear that. So.
Yeah, I mean he's served in the Navy, had some issues with back pain and whatnot, as I'm sure so many different soldiers that come out do. So first, thanks for your service, Alec. I mean, amazing to have individuals like you support us, especially we just passed over 9/11 here, and it's hard to not remember all of those individuals. So hats off to him and his service, and for all of those individuals who were first responders there and several different places 17 years ago. So but anyway, I would love to hear a little bit what they had to say.
Yeah, let's here, I got it queued up. This is Alec and I talking on the back nine. All right, everybody, we've made it to hole 11 here at the 9th Annual Clinic Charity Classic, and I'm here with Alec from Tribe CBD. Alec, how are you doing today?
I'm having a great day. Thank you.
Excellent. Do you mind kind of bringing people up to speed on Tribe if they haven't heard about what you guys are doing yet, the types of products you're offering, kind of how you came to market?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. So we are a high CBD, low THC brand. We actually launched here in Colorado about 4 weeks ago. We started wholesaling last week. We're selling in all the clinic locations. All of our products are USDA organic CBD that's derived from hemp, grown here in Colorado, which is really awesome. You really get the full effects from the CBD. And for our concentrates, which are really our flagship product right now, we're making that with HTE that's derived from live resin. You really get that strain flavor in there, which is really the juicy Tangies and the Panamas and the kosher Kushes, which is really beautiful, and just very high CBD, about 85%, CBD, 15% THC, and then we have our 1,000 milligram CBD tinctures as well. And the reason why I got into this whole thing was I actually have knee problems. I used to be in the Navy, and I have lower back problems, and I was out trying to buy CBD products, and I got pretty sick of buying $150 tinctures. Yeah. So I said, this is ridiculous. We should start a product and really help these people out, and that's why we started this company.
So really setting yourself aside, because there's a big CBD rush, it seems like, recently, not just in the cannabis industry, but in so many other ones. I mean, I give my dog CBD, but it was about finding the right one. And, I can vouch because I've been lucky enough to be able to try some of the Tribe products, and I can vouch for them incredibly. But that is something that you guys are bringing. Like you said, you just kind of got tired of looking, and you wanted to bring something of quality and consistency to the market that you believed in?
That's exactly what it is. And at the end of the day, a lot of the the CBD products that we were buying, or that I was buying when I was, buying other products, were CBD that was derived, maybe grown in, from hemp plants in China or Europe or whatever it is. And at the end of the day, I think that the quality of the CBD is the most important thing. People are using this for medical benefits. And so when you have CBD that is organic, that doesn't have any of the added chemicals or anything in there, and it's grown here locally, you know that it's a good product, and you feel it instantly versus the other ones that might take a little bit longer and that have a more of a diminished kind of effect to it. And so that's really why we started the company, and it's, we're seeing success with it. It's been good.
I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here, because when you talked about being able to feel it, I've tried to describe that to people who aren't familiar with just cannabis, but they're also not familiar with CBD.
Sure.
And I'm trying to explain that it's non-psychoactive, but you are able to feel an effect. I kind of described it as like slowly dipping into like a warm bath, just a nice warm bath. That's it. Just relaxing and calm, taking away kind of those joint aches, those pains, anxiety relief. That's the best metaphor I have for it. Is there another way you would put it?
Here's my advice. All right. So if people really want to dip into this because they're having some sort of pain, or they really want to get a little bit more sleep, or sleep deeper, I guess is the correct phrasing for that, I advise everybody to use it every day, and I think it takes about 2 weeks to kick in. And yes, you do feel that warm, I do at least, feel that warm sensation that's through my body. Obviously, I can't say that, that's what happens when you take these products, but that's what happens when I take it. I feel the warm sensation through my body. When I do the low THC, high CBD dabs, which is about 15% CBD, 15% THC, 85% CBD, you get a very, very mild, almost minuscule head high, and you get the CBD body high that goes throughout your whole body. And if you do like an indica or a hybrid out of one of those concentrates, it's very relaxing and your body feels very calmed down. And that's what I like to use at the end of the day. I use a sativa in the morning. It really helps me get through my day with the pain that I deal with. So
it's just complementing it. So all throughout the day you can kind of do that. So you're here at the 9th Annual Clinic Charity Classic. What's your experience been like today at your booth?
Oh, it's been amazing. So we're actually here. We have the liquor hole and the Tribe CBD hole. So I start everybody off on the left side. I say, listen, you got to do a CBD dab, and you make your way to the right, and you can do a CBD or a drink and refill your cup or whatever it is. And so I think we have a really popular hole over here, obviously, but it's been great. Everybody's been really nice. We got a bunch of owners here who are really great, nice people. Everybody's in it for the right reasons, obviously for charity. So it's been a really nice day.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking some time out of your day to talk to us. And everyone, check out Tribe CBD. Check out all of their different products. You can find them at the clinic locations, and probably some other places around Colorado very soon, if not right now. So check that out for sure. Alec, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Have a great day.
Thanks.
All right. I mean, as we said right before we went into that, I mean, amazing story, a lot of passion behind it, kind of a theme throughout this podcast, the event in general. But I just think it's very cool to kind of hear, why he started the company and he wanted to make sure there was that quality and consistency. And I think that's something that Tribe definitely delivers on. And,
if you've been listening to these podcasts regularly, Matthew and I have definitely been talking about some Tribe every once in a while.
We have definitely been talking about some Tribe. So up next that we wanted to kind of showcase here is Incredibles. And if you haven't heard of Incredibles by now, do you even know anything about the industry? I don't know. I'm just being facetious. But seriously, Incredibles does amazing things with their edibles, their concentrates. I think everyone kind of knows the Incredibles bars is kind of the main thing, and they've branched off and done other amazing things. And kind of like from a family base, and then from what they've been able to do, nationally, and a big deal here actually in Colorado. It's is it Lucky's Market? Yeah. So Lucky's Market actually, is selling CBD, hemp-derived CBD products now, and Incredibles does have a line on the shelf there, which is really, really cool. It's huge.
Absolutely. I mean, probably, there's a reason to say kudos to Steven Chang, who is, I know he's the individual that you interviewed, but he's also, this is a true pioneer in this industry. I mean, this guy's been here since day one. He is a truly inspirational individual. I mean, I feel like every time I talk to him, I should say thank you. He just truly kind person, really passionate about the industry, and Incredibles is super lucky to have him on their team.
Definitely. I mean, he does so much, and he is so knowledgeable. And again, I mean, like everyone we're talking about, very passionate too. And I think that really comes out in this interview here. So
cool. Let's hear it.
We have made it to the end of the front nine, and I think we are saving the best for last, people. I'm here with Steven Chang from Incredible. Steven, how are you doing?
Good, man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. It's a great day. The weather's beautiful, right?
It is really beautiful. We're always happy to be out here with you guys doing this event.
I mean, you guys have been doing it for a long time with us. We've had a long established relationship, and it's been not only as, this event has grown, but also as the industry's grown. And you're with Incredibles, and you guys have edibles, you have extracts, you have a lot of different things, and you've grown throughout those years. Do you mind maybe just kind of bringing people up to speed if they aren't already? I don't know how they wouldn't be, but if they aren't already, just kind of bring them up to speed on Incredibles and what you guys have right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Incredibles is one of the original edible companies that started back in 2010. One of the things they cared about was consistency to their product. So as much as them making a really good edible, they cared about making hash. In decarboxylating oil, working with the labs early on and testing all their medical product. They really challenged themselves then so they can put out this quality product line that you see today. So they started out doing chocolates, and then they evolved going into gummies, fruit tarts, mints, a wellness line, and a concentrate line, a CBD only line, and within all of that being completely vertically integrated, they've engineered their own hydrocarbon patent pending extraction machine, closed loop system. So they really control every step of the process, which you put complete trust in that. So everything you see is what you've known from your experiences with those chocolate bars. And it's kind of a family thing, an experience. The company started with a brother making edibles for their grandmother. So that experience made the whole Esquino family really believe in the medicinal benefits to it. And so that was really the beginning of that and what it's grown to today.
And those medicinal benefits, that obviously is the roots, and that's a great story, understanding where Incredibles came from. And as this market has expanded, we've seen states open up medically and recreationally, right? And as that happens, you've gone to both, and you're seeing all of this happen, and it's helping a lot of people. Do you see across the United States, whether it's like East Coast, West Coast, them leaning towards certain products or anything like that as you've been traveling around?
I think for us, for Incredibles especially, they've been reluctant enough to be acknowledged in a way where they can have these partnerships and expand nationally. So we are in Illinois, Nevada, and Oregon actively on dispensary shelves. And what I've learned is some of these states have come and visited Colorado in the years past, maybe have gone to California and seen just a Wild West, right? No real regulation, probably comparing the both and just saying we can't have a saturated market like that. So they put up all these walls to really, like Pennsylvania, for instance, initially didn't have flower, right? So now they voted flower back in, which you'll see that in dispensaries hopefully by the end of summer. So I think they see some of that stuff. They try to write in their bills not to have it. Certain caps on milligrams on edibles I hope will change in the future in some of these states as well. But I think they're just being as safe as they possibly can because of how they've compared California in all those years to how much we kind of taking that and evolved it, try to be as responsible as we could. And that's how I looked at that. You know, we took what California was doing and we made it just a little bit better, and I think we have the best model in the country. And I hope that more states, maybe not so much have as many dispensaries as we do, but open up their laws so they're more like the medical programs have higher dose edibles. Oregon for recreational only has a 50 milligram cap. Like, it's kind of weird.
It's very weird.
Yeah, it's all over the place. So
I definitely agree with what you're saying, that I hope they adopt it. It's something that Ryan and I have talked about on the podcast before, and I'm glad that you bring up, because it's kind of like when you have so many different marketplaces, so many different states trying to do it their own way, at a certain point, we have been, in no way are we perfect, right? But like, we have gone through so many trials and tribulations as an industry in Colorado that I think we have a lot of experience and knowledge that we can help these other states. And I think that speaks volumes to what's happening with Incredibles, what's happening with the clinic. You can see, like we said, the way that this charity classic is growing, that sort of thing. Everything is growing and people are getting more educated, more knowledgeable. People want to learn more. And I hope that they start turning to Colorado more and more, because I agree with you. I think we have quite a bit to offer these other states as they're coming online.
Yeah, I understand. You almost don't want to be like, why adopt everything? You have to look at some of these states, especially the East Coast, some of these Commonwealth states.
True.
I come from Pennsylvania, born in the same hometown where Harry Anslinger was born. And everything that he started is everything we talk about today, reefer madness and what has gone on in the past 80, 90 years. He's a big part of that.
Yeah.
And so those states are going to take serious baby steps as to what that's going to look like for them in the future.
Yeah.
Virginia is another one of those states on the East Coast that's going to take a little bit of time. Maryland is going to do its thing.
We're seeing it happen in Florida.
Yeah, Florida, Massachusetts.
Time, slowly changing, especially with those flower laws and no flower. You're
going to see New Jersey and New York kind of happen pretty close to each other. I think New Jersey already has medical. I think they're going to go rec here soon. And I think Como is just going to figure out a way to pass this through legislation. It just feels that way. Like all the stuff that I'm reading, the energy, I don't know if it's going to go to a vote. I think they're just going to be like, it's legalized.
There's a lot of anticipation, but it'll be interesting to see how that plays out when it does.
Yeah.
So, well, before I let you go, because I know you're a busy guy, speaking about Incredibles, let's bring it back to that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pin you on, say, what is your favorite Incredibles product, but we do a segment on the podcast at the end called What You Token About.
Yeah.
So, Steven Chang, what you token about?
I'll tell you what, Incredibles, like I said earlier, has evolved to more than just that chocolate bar. Now, if we were just talking the chocolate bar, the peanut butter Buddha bar is just my all-time favorite. There's just something about using white chocolate as a base to create all these unique different chocolate bars that Incredibles does, the affogato, the strawberry crunch, and so on. But using the real peanut butter, using a gluten-free salted pretzel and kind of bringing that all together adds a little sweet savoriness to it. I just love it. And then, like I said, for the gummies, the watermelon gummy has become my favorite. We use organic fruit juice in all of our gummies. So the watermelon's my favorite there. The fruit tarts for our new tart mint line, I would say I love the fruit tarts because I love the variety and the idea of just eating sweet tarts in my mind.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh, it's great. And then we have the wellness line, the tincture. It's THC distillate with CBD isolate, and we use MCT oil as our base. It's tasteless, odorless. It has 3 different ratios. It got created because we helped this girl Supernova that you could look up online, find an easier delivery method to help with her epilepsy.
Okay.
And that was the birth of that wellness line, which means everything to us. You know, we found a family just using our chocolate bars, and we said we have to do something different for this family. And this little girl changed this whole company, really, everyone in the direction. And then the concentrate line, I just really like the orange soda and the sour band 09. It's 2 genetics that we started out with in beginning. One we got to pheno hunt, the other one we bred ourselves in-house. Very special to our grow team and our extraction team. They're just 2 phenomenal strains. And then, just real quick, we partnered with ChemDog.
Oh,
you know,
nice.
That's something that's really
I love ChemDog
near
so
and
much.
dear.
Didn't you guys just had some shirts come out? Is that correct?
He actually made some shirts on. It's all kind of him. So when he does the shirts and apparel, it's coming all from him. He does all the design work himself back in Massachusetts. Okay. Ships it all out here. But we got the Chem 91, the Chem D, and the Chem 4, and he trademarked everything. And we're honored. We're honored.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. You should be.
Yeah, there's so much going on in Incredibles. It's really just, it's incredible.
Well, actually, we might have to just bring you in and just do a full-on podcast with Incredibles.
I'll bring in all the products in.
Let's do it.
How about we do that?
Yeah.
We'll set that up.
Well, Steven, thank you so much for being here for another Charity Classic. Thank you for taking some time out of your day to talk to us. And thank you to Incredibles so much for not only supporting the community, the industry, the patients, the consumers, but also, you know, the clinic and the Charity Classic. So thank you so much.
We love being a part of this. We've been a part since the beginning. We love raising money and awareness to what's going on. Thank you guys for doing this.
I'm just gonna have a peanut butter Buddha bar tonight, and
sounds delightful.
For after hearing that one, so
yeah.
Thanks, Steven. You guys are awesome, man. The whole company. I really appreciate you guys being a part of this.
Yeah, check out Incredibles, everyone. You know, we're kind of getting down to a couple of the other features here to kind of round this out. We appreciate you guys sticking with us, because I think, you know, hearing this, we could talk about it, you know, and talk about all of these companies, but hearing it from the actual people who are involved and who are doing it is so interesting to me, and I'm so grateful I was able to get to talk to them. And this next one, I mean, two friends, 2 people we've both known for a long time, Nicole West, Ed Schwartz, with Inclusive Cannabis. They were down on Dab Island.
Dab Island, man.
Yeah, Dab Island is also one of my favorite stops every single year. It's an amazing time.
Another beautiful hole, you know, that's why.
Yeah, beautiful hole. So this is me catching up with Nicole West and Ed Schwartz from Inclusive Cannabis. All right, everybody, we have made it to Dab Island, and I'm sitting here with a couple of my friends from Inclusive Cannabis.
Hey, how are you today? Nicole West here, the managing partner from Inclusive Cannabis, and I've also got to my left Mr. Ed Schwartz, our COO.
How are you guys doing today?
Dude, we are so stoked to be here. This is probably my favorite event every single year. My 6th year now participating in the Clinic Charity Classic. I've volunteered 3 years, played 2, and now this is my first year sponsoring, and I figured what a better place to be than on the island watching everybody, hanging out with the lab. They co-sponsored with us, brought some really amazing terps that they were able to pair with our inflavored water, which we infused with fruit. We've got some high-octane water. if you need it. That's what we were talking about earlier. But yeah, we're really excited to be here. Actually, Ed and I are both former clinic employees and huge fans of everything you guys are doing, and just really stoked to be able to be here with the lab and be a part of the Clinic Charity Classic again.
Yeah, it's been so great to see not only how this event has grown, but how everyone's been able to grow and evolve, with this event, with the industry, and knowing both of you all from the clinic family prior to this and seeing where you guys are now. Can you guys tell people who maybe aren't in the know about Inclusive Cannabis, kind of talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So Inclusive Cannabis is a branding and marketing firm. We're really full service. We help with trade show production, photography, videography, packaging design, brand design from A to B, email marketing campaigns, whatever you need to be able to really get with your internal stakeholders and your external stakeholders, your customers, your investors, and your employees, most importantly, and communicating with them all on the same playing field so that the consistent message comes from all people involved. And that's something that we really pride ourselves on, is getting everybody involved, making sure there's a consistent message, and making sure that message is all about inclusivity. We really want to bring cannabis mainstream, and so that's why we call ourselves Inclusive Cannabis. If you can see our logo, it's a bunch of concentric circles that lay into each other, and those are not only the types of services we offer, it represents that, but it also represents the ability to be inclusive and bring in all likes, whether you are a member of any sort of organization, or really just bringing everybody to the table, because cannabis needs to be normalized and brought to the masses.
Yeah, it really speaks to, it is inclusive, and it speaks to, like I was talking about earlier, what the industry has really come full circle as it's expanding, not only medically as we're seeing on the East Coast, but coming recreationally and adult use, looking up north, talking about Canada, looking at the States Act and possibly, that being pushed through in the next year or two. It's something that is really important. I think having that direct message and having that level playing field when you're communicating with people, spreading knowledge, and making sure that everything is in line is very important. And it sounds like that's what you all are doing.
Yeah.
It's something that we pride ourselves on, but I also have to give a huge shout out to the clinic and the lab, because they're probably one of the few companies that we've seen in this space that have actually come across with a pretty solid, congruent, consistent message regularly. And it's been inspiring, and both Ed and I, like I said, worked for the company, so it's shown us what it should look like in a big way, which is very helpful. It's nice to have people out there setting trends, so thanks, guys.
Well, thank you. It's nice to have the relationships still, and I think that also speaks to the community and everyone kind of evolving together. The name of the podcast is Elevated Culture, and there's a lot of meanings to that, and I think you guys are definitely helping spread and keep that elevated culture and pushing it to the next level.
Thank you.
Do you guys want to let us know, and anyone listening, where we can find you online or anything like that?
Yeah, you can find us at inclusivecannabis.com. We're on Instagram at inclusivecannabis_, and that's the same for Twitter and also our Tumblr handle.
Excellent. Well, we really appreciate what you guys are doing here, not only here for the Charity Classic, but also as Inclusive Cannabis. And Nicole West, Managing Partner, Ed Schwartz, COO, thank you guys so much for taking a few minutes out of your day to talk to us.
We are stoked to be here. Thank you.
So great what they're doing. It's so cool because they're doing so much. It really is inclusive when you hear them talking about it and kind of explaining it. It truly is kind of very cool platform and idea and everything that they're going with there.
Two awesome people. They those guys have they both worked at the clinic years ago. We obviously still have a great relationship with one another, which is amazing. And what's cool about it is that to see individuals come and work at the company, and yet they are so incredibly passionate about this and so incredibly driven that they took on this huge opportunity of kind of consulting and assisting individuals in the industry. So it was super cool to see those two. I love them to death, and thanks again, you guys, for coming out.
And I will say this, that we didn't get to record it, but Ed had come up to me earlier in the day, and he had an amazing idea. He was like, "Listen, when you come to Dab Island, we're going to do a segment for your podcast, and we're going to call it Red Eyes with Ed." And and I was all in. But we got there towards the end of the day, and we didn't get to do it. So hopefully we'll have him in here at some point. We'll get to do a Red Eyes with Ed segment.
Either a Red Eyes with Ed or a pillow war.
Yeah, or a pillow war. Yeah,
that's for you, Ed.
That's for you. All right. Well, I think rounding out here, we kind of have to talk about another big sponsor. Was all over the course. The presence was felt. They did so much, and what they're doing with their devices and technology and everything like that is extremely important and extremely huge. And I don't know if I can do it justice. I might have to just let Peter talk about it.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Here's Peter from Gofire, everybody. All right, everybody. We are here. It's kind of towards the end of the day. We've rounded out the back nine. And to be honest, I've been hunting this guy down all day long because the presence of Gofire has been set up all over the entire Arrowhead course. And now I've run into Peter. And Peter, I've now got you on the mic. Thank you for taking a minute to talk to me.
Of course. We're so happy to be here and to be a part of this. We see our platform as a piece of the solution as we march forward in research regarding MS. We're excited for the future. It's
a big deal what you guys are doing, and the technology that you have is something that other companies have not been doing, to this point. And so, can you tell people, just kind of give a brief background on Gofire for those who are listening that might not know?
Of course. We realized that there was a gap. A lack of control and consistency, a lack of repeatability for the medical patients within the space. And so we were trying to figure out, again, how can we create that consistent control, right, and give that control back to the patients, allowing them to know how much and what they're taking into their bodies. So the whole concept started off with the idea of this vaporizer, that we could create a vaporizer that controlled your dose, and via a little smart sensor in the cartridge was able to know the chemical profile, what was contained within the product that you were consuming. From this, we realized that we need to build out the smartphone application, which would really tie it all together and allow patients to both report and journal what products are working best for them, again, all completely anonymously, as well as use that aggregated information, again, all anonymous, to search by ailment for specific products and then find out where they could go and purchase those products.
It's really interesting because with the technology that you have and the technology that you've put out there are a lot of states, especially on, say, the East Coast, the Southeast, states like that, when it's just coming on as medical, right? And they're looking at metered dosing. And you guys are one, if not only, like the only one who is truly doing that at that point. And I think that is a big deal when it comes to talking about where we are today when you're looking at adult use, from where we came from, at least in Colorado and other states where it was medical. But it is so important because it really is helping people. And is that kind of the driving force behind Gofire?
That's spot on. I think I go back to what we like to always say, which is enabling the prescription pad. When you think about any medication, any medicine, whether that's over the counter or prescription, you can go to the store and you can buy a bottle of Advil, which is 40 capsules, right? Each capsule contains 250 milligrams of ibuprofen. So I know exactly how much I need. I only need one. My girlfriend needs 3 to get rid of a headache, right? And so the platform that we've created was set up to allow for, again, it was really set up to allow for that physician to have absolute control when they are working with patients, and that patient to feel comfortable in, again, how much they're taking so they can see repeatable results.
Yeah.
And in that same way, really be quantifiable, similar to, again, Advil or any other product you'd find as a medication.
Which also translates to the adult use recreational market, because there are a lot of people who were not patients before, especially in these other emerging states, right? And they don't necessarily know their tolerance or what they want to do. So you want to be able to meter that, understand what you're taking, and understand what works for you, to not only be able to take away the effects of whatever it is, a joint pain, a disease, an illness, that sort of thing, or just, kick back at the end of the day, and being able to not overdo it is very important. So I think that's very responsible.
Well, I think, again, that's right on, and we are in a position where it was once explained back to me as to what we were doing, as we created a shot glass, right, for the adult use and recreational marketplaces. We've really created a shot glass, and now for the first time you can, again, quantify that consumption. We used to use the analogy again, if there were 3 people in a room and you put down a bottle of Patron in front of them, tequila, and they never drank before, and you say have a good time, you're going to leave and come back in 30 minutes, and 2 are going to be on the ground and one of them is going to be dancing on the table.
Everyone's biochemistry is different.
Exactly, but with again a system of control and education, now all of a sudden we've put a shot glass on the table and said just take one, see how it makes you feel, and feel free to take another.
Yeah.
After you waited 15 minutes, right? And it allows that level of control over, again, our personal experiences as individuals.
And it lends itself to kind of why we're here today talking, being at the 9th Annual Clinic Charity Classic, benefiting MS, raising money for that. And I think what you were just saying, whether it is medicinal or adult use, kind of the technology you have and what you're doing is being able to empower the patient, empower the consumer, to make them, like you said, the Advil metaphor I think was genius. Yep. Really, I would take 2.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm in the middle, but I think that really makes a lot of sense. So what you have going on and being a part of this and being able to put back into such a community and charity and industry, I think is a great thing, and we really appreciate you and Gofire being out here and being all over the course to educate people today and everywhere else.
Well, again, we're really excited to be a part of this. This is an exciting time, and we just actually got built into a grant with Colorado State University to be their research platform for their trials.
Congratulations.
And so we're hoping, again, that we can assist with the MS research as well, and see some progress there that I know that we're all desperately looking for.
Yeah. Well, I think you are on the right path. You guys are on the up and up. And everyone, if you have not checked out Gofire, can you tell us where to find you guys?
Of course, we're obviously across all of these social media platforms. We are also online at www.gofire.co. Feel free to check us out. We'll be in stores near you coming soon.
Nice.
All right.
Gofire, everybody. Check them out. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you so much.
Really interesting product. I mean, and I think, we've obviously, sort of been students of vaporization now for years and watching different products that come out on the market. And it's really cool to see something with a meter dosed, control. I mean, I think that's sort of the next step here.
I think it is, and I'm glad that he and I talked about it in that interview because, as we kind of said, as these new states are coming on, when you're not seeing combustibles being allowed and such, what is allowing cannabis to get into these other states is metered dosage. The legislation is being written that way, and eventually over time, you start seeing it change, or hopefully you start seeing that legislation change. But metered dosing is very, very important, for patients in the medical aspect and just anyone in the adult use aspect as well.
I mean, obviously we've been pushing it so hard on the edible side, which it's been great to be able to see what that's done. I mean, I think now you can ask an individual here in Colorado, and we have obviously so many very informed patients and customers, but you can ask someone what their dosage is in an edible, and they know. And they know, when trying different products, ultimately how much to ingest. And that's a really awesome thing that we've been able to educate the masses on.
Yeah, and it's amazing that everyone's taking it so seriously to be able to give that feedback and take the time to understand it themselves and share it so that, we can educate everyone else. People really taking it on themselves and consuming responsibly.
And I think those Gofire products, they're going to launch very soon. I think you can buy the device online. I'm not sure if the cartridges have been launched yet, but this is why we have, there are so many amazing companies that were a part of that event, and it's really hard to be able to play all of them here for you today. So like Matthew said, I think, stay tuned, take a look at social media sites and the website and whatnot, and we will have those interviews up and, periodically talking about, different individuals. But I think you'll see a lot of those companies, come in and sit with us in studio here and talk to us a little bit about their particular companies. I think each of the ones that we talked about here today, we've barely brushed the surface of the amazing work that they're doing in this industry. So it'll be fun to hear, more about it. And I think, in this industry, if it's, a month or 6 months or a year, it's light years of exponential growth in that time period. And so it'll be really fun to hear kind of what these companies have done, year over year.
Yeah, it'll be incredibly fun, and even just to see what they've done already, and to know what they have kind of planned, in the works. But like you said, light years happens in a month, 6 months to a year, so those things change so rapidly. I think amazing things are going to happen. So all of these individuals that we've been talking about this evening, all of these companies, everyone involved. I mean, I think it really speaks to what this podcast is about and why we call it elevated culture. I mean, everyone has been pushing and elevating the culture of the cannabis industry. And I think, like you just said, we just were able to scratch the surface here, and wanted to showcase some of that with some of these individuals and these brands and companies and the MS Society, at the Rocky Mountain MS Center. All of that is literally elevating the culture of cannabis, and really helping so many people. And I think that is so important. So happy and grateful that I get to be a part of it and know all of these people, and very humbled by it because they are very amazing.
Absolutely. Well said, my friend. And I think, one thing before you start to wind down the show here, and I might even be able to wrap in my favorite segment, but, as of right now, we are wrapping up the Elevate Your Senses campaign that's been happening at the clinic. And I think it's been really fun, over the last several months to sort of explore, the experiences that the clinic can provide to you, and, the different ways that they affect us. And so, one of those is taste, and that is this last final month. And so, in the month of September, it is going to be really fun to have everybody come out and get an opportunity to taste, some of the incredible products. And I think, what is normally, the case is that there are specific volume amounts that are sold. And I think what we're doing here is that we're actually giving some really small amounts of a lot of different products, so that if you do want to come in and try a little bit of a sampler here, learn a little bit about all of the products that the clinic has to offer, now is the time. This is it's a great month to get in there and do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. And with that said, I mean, you kind of just segued us in, so we got to do it. Ryan, what you toking about?
I have been testing as well, and sampling, and tasting, and a lot of that, I have to say, hats off to Mr. Jay Price over at the bank. We were talking about him earlier in the show, and I will have to tell you that he has some new strains that he has coming out that I've actually tried a few different ones, and it's almost hard to pick which ones I have thought have been the best. He has for me, I'm very excited about. He's got a Race Fuel Kosher Kush cross. It is absolutely amazing. And several strains. So I'd have to say that right now I'm definitely doing the month of taste, and trying several of these new strains that Jay's putting out.
You kind of stole my fire there, and I wasn't sure if I was allowed to say it, so I'm glad you did first. It's going to sound like I'm riding your coattails, but I swear it was in my head. But I've had the pleasure of being able to have some tastings here, and taste different phenos of some of these strains, and two that really stood out to me recently. One you may know from Bank's previous releases, Citrix. Some really
super good.
Some really good phenos, and an amazing new pheno of Citrix, that I think Jay has kind of mastered, and so I found kind of my favorite there, that and the Space Ghost OG.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's another real good one.
Plus it's got an awesome name.
It really does.
Space Ghost.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Space Force, which I also think is super cool.
Yeah, me too.
I'd like to be a captain in Space Force. So.
Me too.
I mean,
Well, maybe if we smoke enough, we'll get up there, get our heads above the clouds, you know?
I'd give it a shot at least.
Yeah. Well, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in again, listening to Elevated Culture, brought to you by the clinic. Please feel free to reach out, as we were saying at the beginning. We love hearing from you guys, interacting, and things have been picking up. So feel free to email us at elevatedculture@thecliniccolorado.com. You can also find us on Facebook and on Instagram. Just search for the clinic on Facebook, and then it's the clinic_Colorado on Instagram. You're going to see a lot of stuff, especially talking about the sense of taste. You'll be able to find out a lot of those deals and sampler packs and things like that going on. But also just engage with us, and we'll be sure to engage back. So we always appreciate you listening. Ryan, I always appreciate you showing up.
Hey, and this was fun, man. It's a nice special on the Clinic Charity Classic. It's nice to be able to highlight something like this. So super cool. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Everyone, have a great night. Remember, keep your culture elevated.